how are you gathering the people that might go there?
So we are going to have a meeting at the Nantucket Hotel on November 28th. When we return from Puerto Rico.
All right.
Because we're going to, when I go to Puerto Rico, I'm going to have a cameraman, I'm going to have a photographer, I'm going to have people from the government with us, and we are going to basically assemble teams. So for example, Team A is going to have this area, Team B is going to do this, Team C, we need to be prepared when, as soon as we land, we have to hit the ground running, because we're not going to have any time. So we probably continue to assemble these teams right now, but hopefully by November 28th, we'll have a pretty good idea what's needed. We need materials, of course, wood, you know, anything that it's building materials. So we're going to try to reach to Home Depot, we're going to try to reach to Lowe's, we're going to try to reach to Marine Home Center.
Of course.
You know, people that can help. And today I have a meeting, a conference call with Cape Air, and hopefully we're trying to get JetBlue to fund the flight, so we can get a flight from either Nantucket or Boston to make this a reality.
So the people that would go, let's say people are out there are watching this right now, and there's some landscapers talk about planting trees. Well, they need to start thinking about how they might be able to, whether they're a carpenter or electrician.
So the goal is that the employers obviously will have to pay for them to go, but there will be volunteers. We will take care of their travel, their meals, and their lodging. So, you know, what we're looking is for companies that are be able to afford sending somebody 7 to 10 days to Puerto Rico in January to do so.
So January would be
that's the goal. We can't wait too much longer because the need it's just so much. But right now it's almost impossible to assemble something like that this quick unless we were already ready. Like somebody like the Red Cross, obviously, civil defense, somebody can do that. But we're not. We're trying to get volunteers from this island to do so. And I think Nantucket Cares will continue to be something. This is not a one-trick pony. I think once we have, if this works, we will love to have this in place for the next. Unfortunately, you know what's coming. Another disaster is probably just down the line. So.
Well, I was going to bring that up. I mean, this is, you know, if you listen to what the scientists are saying, this is just the beginning.
Yep, and we are on the bullseye of that too. You know, Nantucket. You know, we think. Well, everybody knows Nantucket is definitely, you know, prone to get fraud or something like that. But God forbid that it's something so devastating.
But back to Puerto Rico, you know, the buildings. Now that they can maybe, if people put money into the infrastructure, things can be built to prepare themselves for the next one.
Well, so the big issue they're having right now, and when the president went, I was talking to some people, is the government is trying to get the debt erased, because there is no way that they're going to be able to borrow money to rebuild.
Well, didn't Trump say that, you know, he wants to get rid of it? He just said I mean, he made that in passing.
If that happens, then things will become more clear, and I believe that they can actually rebuild the way it should be rebuilt, not patched together. It must be rebuilt properly. My mother worked for the American Red Cross for 53 years, and my aunt Graciela Sejo, my mother is Carmen Sejo, and they work. I grew up in shelters. Sometimes I used to be as a kid because they'd be working for the Red Cross in disaster area, and I used to be with them. I volunteer. Before going to college, I was in the Red Cross as well. So it's ingrained in me. This is kind of honoring their legacy, because they gave a lot. They sacrificed a lot. And the pay is, you know, on those type of agencies, trust me, my mother made very little money, but she was so respected and well liked, and I believe that, you know, it's in me because of her and my aunt.
That's wonderful. That's great to hear. Now, Puerto Ricans are American citizens.
They are. We are.
They can travel. They get a passport just like everybody else.
We do.
Why do so many people stay in Puerto Rico if they can come here and work? Because I mean, if you were to offer the same opportunity to, let's say, the Philippines, I mean, half of the country would be here.
Right. Well, it's a complex question, because a lot of young Puerto Ricans were leaving the island because there were no work. There was no work. So they were losing, you know, some of the young talent, and that is great for some, but it's bad for the island, because then you're leaving, you know, people my age, 50 plus, 60, 70, with no workforce that can be engineers, that can be new doctors, that can be, you know, computer scientists. So that is a complex question for me, because as much as I would like to see people do well, the exodus of young people out of Puerto Rico is actually a very
there's so many people.
Yeah.
I mean, 3.5 million people to handle a tourist economy.
Right. We are overpopulated, definitely.
Yeah.
So we're one of the most overpopulated countries in the world.
Is that because of the
well, we are happy people, and we like a good party, and we like a lot of women. And
of course.
My father was married 4 times, so let's leave that behind.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
I only have one. I have one sister that lives in California, one brother that lives now in Orlando.
Oh.
From different marriages, from different.
Okay,
yes,
but that's it.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, okay.
So, but that's. Rumor has it that I also have a couple of other brothers that I have never met. So my father was a little bit of a Casanova, but that's another story.
Well, that's a good story. I'd love to hear that one.
So he was the head of the union for the hotels in San Juan for many, many years. He was very kind of famous because he met Sinatra, he met all those back in the old days, the casinos and the hotels in Puerto Rico.
Yes, the charm.
And he changed his name from Castrello to Costello. So his name was Lou Costello.
Oh, yeah. So
he was quite a character. So how
long ago did you come to the States?
I left Puerto Rico in 1982. Okay. I joined the Coast Guard.
You're kidding?
No, I was in the Nantucket Lightship. That was one of my last duties.
You're sitting next to another ex-Coastie. How do you do it? You started the Coast Guard what year?
I started. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1982. I was in Uniform 111. That was my company.
Unbelievable. I got out in 1982.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. April 11th of 1982 I was out. I was
in from
78. I did. Yeah. I went to Cape May, and I was stationed mostly in New London at a small boat station.
Mark.
Oh, yeah. So that's great.
Yeah.
So you're, okay.
So I landed here.
I loved my service.
I loved that. I was sad when I left, because I left during tough economic times, and they were cutting a lot of the schools. I wanted to be a marine science technician in MST, and they cut the school. So I kind of stayed and I did my time, but I will never regret it. I have still friends.
Me too.
The
for
best
life. Friends are. I try to tell kids that are like not sure they want to go to college yet. I say join the Coast Guard. It's a great opportunity.
Great opportunity. I traveled.
And then the college. Did you go to college afterwards?
Well, I did a little bit of college in Puerto Rico. I finished, a little bit of college.
Okay.
And then I joined the Coast Guard. But I never finished my college career. So maybe someday. It's never too late, as they say, right?
Never too late. No, always be learning. Never stop learning. Life is about loving and learning.
Absolutely. So I'm giving back to what I can, and hopefully our little piece will make a big difference.
Should people go to Puerto Rico still? Should they go down there and just...
Not right now. I don't recommend going to Puerto Rico unless you have a mission, unless you can help.
Right.
You'll be standing on the way of people trying to rebuild. Traffic right now is insane because there's no power. So there is, imagine, millions of cars trying to get through somewhere without power. So I believe... Don't go now. When the hotels are reopened, a lot of the hotels are hosting FEMA workers, are hosting military personnel, American Red Cross. So I believe we are only going, and I'm going to stay at a condo that my brother has in San Juan. So hopefully there was no damage. We haven't been able to see it yet because he's in Orlando. And then my nephew, his son, he is in the National Guard. So he was deployed, so he hasn't been able to go there.
I see.
Well, so.
Before this happened, before this tragedy, how do you think Puerto Rico was developing? What direction was it getting? Were things getting worse, or were they getting better? I know the debt was an issue, but people were making people and they go, "Oh, Puerto Rico, be careful! You're going to get robbed."
Right.
They'll say
no. They do, and I always tell people Puerto Rico is no different than any major city. There are good parts and there are bad parts, and you have to be careful and you have to use common sense. I've been to areas that somebody will say, oh, wow, I would never go. My wife said, she'll look around and I said, we are totally safe. Just because it's poor doesn't mean they're bad people.
I agree.
And the perception is that, oh, you know, this rundown shack, it must be because somebody, you know, it's, well, they don't have anything, so they're going to rob for the first person that walked through, and that's not true. Yes, there's high crime in Puerto Rico. Yeah, there's drugs. The economy makes it obviously difficult. So, what does people do? They're gonna sell drugs, yeah. And the demand is high. And Puerto Rico, being in their location, is a central, integral part, shipping drugs to the United States and other places. Right, so that's there, but that's no different than, you know, Texas, Mexico, and other parts. So
I agree.
Unfortunately, yes. People were in dire need, and there was a bit of a black market. The last one, you know, there was like a little underground economy that people were developing because the taxation. Before we didn't have tax on items like you know, for clothing and all that. Now the taxes. So, you know, I saw that people trying to survive that way. People were trying to get up. They were trying to rise up, but it was very difficult. The government was broke. In Puerto Rico, you know, so much. Yeah. And another issue is that I believe, some people might disagree, every election brings new leadership, and new leadership, it is all political. So if you had a job in the other administration, you're not going to have a job. So then you get replaced. No continuity. They should, you know, every government should allow the best people to do the best job for as long as they can do it. That's what I believe. But
so let's look at it. Let's look at the future for a second, then, of Puerto Rico. This tragedy can turn into a very positive thing.
It can.
It could, right? I get the feeling that you feel it.
And it's just talking to the people, my friends and stuff. I said, let's take this opportunity and let's make Puerto Rico better. Let's try to make sure that we rebuild better quality buildings, codes, better quality schools, better quality infrastructure, and let's take over ourselves. I think, like the private citizen, we always depend on government for leadership. Perhaps more private citizens can take leadership and help the government.
Right.
So
now, if I were to, could I go to Puerto Rico and start a business?
Of course.
No problem. I can do whatever yeah, it's just like being here.
A lot of Americans, especially in Vieques.
Do you think if I started a Gino TV channel down there, they'd like it?
Oh, absolutely. They would love it. Of course, you'll have to have a reggaeton in the music. You have to spice it up a little bit.
I'm definitely. I'm thinking about spicing this thing up a little.
Yeah, you have to have you have plenty of room for nice speakers in there.
Yeah, so, right. Gotta have the big speakers.
Yeah, we're loud. I mean, it's I will, grant you that yes, we are loud and we talk with our hands, and but we're happy people, and I hope this hurricane took hope from some people that had no hope, and our goal is to give a little bit of hope to people, and to say, you know what, people care.
So if people had just tuned in and didn't see the very beginning of this, let's remind people what you're doing again. You're bringing Nantucket Cares. That's
Nantucket Cares. Yeah, Nantucket Cares is an ambitious project with Tom McCann. We are trying to get the skilled worker from Nantucket to Puerto Rico to help rebuild certain areas of Puerto Rico. We need electricians, plumbers, carpenters, landscapers, arborists, people that know how to work hard, long hours, but it's going to be a labor of love. It's in January. We're targeting mid-January. We're going to have a meeting at the Nantucket Hotel November 28th. Mark Snyder has kindly donated the ballroom for that. If you have skills, we want to talk to you, and if you can travel, if your company allows you to travel, they pay for you. We will pay for your lodging, your travel, and your meals.
Fantastic. And it's like a week.
It's about a week to 10 days.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Well, look, Carlos, wonderul to meet you.
Thank you for allowing us to do this.
Absolutely. If I won't be around in January, but if I was able to help, I'll do whatever I can to help.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks.